Shocker, the man who made his entire career based on dressing up like a woman might be gay and is getting sued. Men and women hate each other, and Whoopi Goldberg thinks that Black Americans are more oppressed than Iranians. Welcome back. Now, before we dive into those stories, guys, I need to take like 5 minutes with you to talk about dating, because there is a phenomenon that is going on right now that I feel like needs to be addressed. And I was inspired to talk about this based on this tweet that is currently going viral. This girl, Sad Girly Boss, she said, "I am becoming convinced that a lot of men just don't like women." And so many women in the comments were like, yes, this is what I've been feeling. Like, they don't even like us. They don't want to date us. Like, why would we want to date them if they don't even like us? Guys, this is not just a man problem. This is also a female problem. This is a man and woman problem. You guys do not like each other. So obviously, you are not going to be able to date. And this is clearly being caused by a myriad of issues, but obviously the ideological divide between men and women is not helping in the slightest. But this post and this whole conversation did remind me of another post that I saw last year around this time. I don't remember if I ever included this in an episode, but I had it bookmarked. This is from a guy named KCB Head, and he said, "Do not sleep on tomboys. As the daughters of fathers whom they bonded with over masculine pursuits, they value men for being men. They are almost always married." Obviously, that first post was not talking at all about being tomboys, but I think it goes back to the same idea of, if you want to date somebody, if you want to be somebody who is in the dating pool and fall in love and be attractive to people, you kind of have to like the opposite sex. Like, you kind of have to have an appreciation for the people that you want to fall in love with or you want to date. And tomboys, with our overalls and our rock climbing and our shooting guns, whatever we were doing at 12 and 13 years old, we genuinely enjoy men. We like being around men. And obviously, you don't have to understand every single thing about the opposite sex, but a fondness for them, finding them endearing, is literally the bare minimum. And that goes for both men and women. Like tomboys, like I said, they're comfortable around men. We were friends with them growing up. We appreciate their hobbies and their quirks. And again, that alone goes a long way. Like, men and women, we are more divided than ever, but do not let that or bad experiences or rejection, whatever it may be, posts on social media, etc., harden your heart to the point that you do not even like the people that you are attracted to. Because if you become that way, I'm sorry, dating will get even more difficult. And the last thing you want is to be as negative and angry as Whoopi Goldberg, which we're going to talk about next. Before we do, though, make sure that you like this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not already. And of course, ring that notification bell to make sure that you stay up to date on all of our episodes. And if you want updates on upcoming live events, if you want to subscribe to the newsletter or our subscription platform, make sure to check out brettcooper.com. Now, guys, at this point, I feel like I could do an entire episode, an entire week's worth of episodes on women who just need to shut their faces. Meghan Markle is the first one who comes to mind. Blake Lively, things would go so well for you if you would just sit down and stop talking and stop fighting. And Whoopi Goldberg is also on my list for this week. I mean, she would make the cut every single day based on the things that she says on The View. And this next clip that we need to watch is no different. Just listen to what she said about Black people living in America in 2025.
What I heard was not what you meant.
I think it's very different to live in the United States in 2025 than it is to live in Iran.
Not if you're black.
Not for everybody.
Not if you're black.
Guys, don't go to Tehran. Do not, no one at this table should go to Tehran.
Let me tell you about being in this country.
But I think it's important we remember there are places much darker than this country and people who deserve rights.
Not everybody feels that way. Not everybody feels that way. Listen, I'm sorry. You know, when you think about the fact that we got the vote in 1965.
You still have the vote. We got the vote in 1965. Yes. We're years beyond that now. Now you can vote, Whoopi. You have freedom. People in Iran, they do not even have that freedom. And you are trying to sit here and say that because you didn't get the right to vote until later on in our country's history, that you are just as oppressed as people living in the Middle East. That is absurd. And according to Whoopi, the atrocities that occur in countries like Iran are basically the same as what Black people endure in America in 2025. Women killed for showing their hair, being blocked from getting an education, gay people being thrown off of buildings. All of that was brought up in this conversation. The first part of this clip was them going back and forth, yelling about this. She heard all of that. It somehow didn't get through her thick skull with all of that tight hair, basically pulling all the oxygen out of her brain. And she still had the gall to sit there and say, actually, Black people have it the same. It is just the same as living in America as an oppressed person. Like, do you, genuinely, Whoopi, do you have any default other than just being an angry victim like 24/7? Like, please take a chill pill, travel the world, get some perspective, maybe take some time off of The View and take a class with Peterson Academy to try to further your understanding of the world. And Peterson Academy is Jordan Peterson's online university that is open for enrollment right now. So if you are somebody who loves lifelong learning and wants to learn from the brightest professors in the world, or if you've ever benefited from Dr. Peterson's lectures, this platform is for you. Every month, Peterson Academy releases 4 new in-depth 8-hour university-level courses taught by world-renowned experts and designed to keep you engaged. This is not your normal class. This is something totally different. These courses cover an amazing range of topics from philosophy to history to math and science, business, complete with optional testing to further your understanding of every single subject. Plus, they are continually rolling out new educational features as they go. There is already a built-in social community where you can connect and learn alongside like-minded people from around the world. So if you are ready to challenge your intellect, expand your horizons, and take control of your education no matter where you are in life, it is time to go to petersonacademy.com/Brett to get started today. It is $399 per year to access all of the 8-hour courses with 4 new a month, plus the community with a 7-day money-back guarantee. Now back to our good friend Whoopi. I have to give her some credit because she was not the only person trying to bring racial plight back into vogue this year. Just take a look at this headline from a couple of days ago. That was right around the same time she was saying all of this on The View. This is from Breitbart. The Hunger Games star Billy Porter said that America is Nazi Germany right now, and the Jews are black people. I mean, guys, you've got to be kidding me. Like, these people, they spend their entire existence pretending to struggle and pretending to be oppressed in the year 2025 while people around the world are getting murdered in civil rights atrocities. And they cannot even fathom that that is a reality. They can't even fathom that it is worse than what they perceive is happening to them in America. Like, no wonder people are done taking you seriously, and no wonder you are so much less happy than the rest of the country. Now, we don't need a study to tell us that, obviously. We know the people on the right are much happier than people on the left, but a new one just came out, so we might as well talk about it. And wow, once again, my friends, conservatives are much happier than liberals in every single category by a wide margin. Just take a look at this chart. I mean, like, it is truly insane. In every single category, conservatives score higher on this happiness scale. One category that is not shown in this particular graph that I think is really interesting is that conservatives who only make $30,000 a year have the same level of happiness as a liberal who makes $100,000 a year. I mean, talk about gratitude and being joyful and finding hope and just being generally happy regardless of your circumstances. Of being able to find joy even in small moments, even when you're not making the money that other people are making in this society. And I mean, it's probably because conservatives do not spend every damn waking moment trying to claim that they are the most oppressed people in history. And to that point, this tweet summed it up well. This guy said, because the worldview of the political left requires a delusional obsession with trying to solve mostly non-existent problems. They replace religion with politics when their politics are a never-ending uphill battle against reality. Delusional obsession with trying to solve mostly non-existent problems. That is the most important line in that entire tweet. And shockingly, that existence takes a toll on people. And suddenly you become the boomers that we talked about last week who are crying over Trump and beating up Trump dolls. Suddenly, you are the people wishing death on an innocent child, which we should talk about next. So the Georgia woman who was kept on life support because she was pregnant just gave birth. Now, if you don't know this story, back in February, a woman named Adriana Smith, who was 9 weeks pregnant at the time, went into the hospital complaining of a headache. They basically turned her away. They said, nothing's wrong, just go home, sleep it off. But the next morning, she was rushed to the hospital yet again after her boyfriend woke up to her gasping for air in her sleep, and soon after, she was declared brain dead at the hospital, suffering multiple brain clots. Now, at the time, her story made major headlines because the doctors at this hospital told her family that they could not pull the plug, that she would have to stay on life support due to her being pregnant and the fact that Georgia's abortion laws did not allow for abortions after a heartbeat is found. And because she was technically alive, even though she was brain dead, they could not allow her family to make the decision to pull the plug because that would kill her unborn child, making it an abortion in the eyes of this hospital. Now, her mom, since the beginning, has been doing interviews and talking about this because obviously it made the news. It was a huge thing back in February. She has been giving interviews since the beginning, and in one interview she said, quote, "I think that every woman should have the right to make her own decision, and if not, then her partner or her parents. She's pregnant with my grandson, but he may be blind. He may not be able to walk. He may not survive once he's born. That decision should have been left to us. Now we're left wondering what kind of life he will have, and we're going to be the ones raising him. Now, more than anything, her family was upset that they did not get the chance to make this decision for themselves. And although they were worried and they were giving interviews and they were saying this just doesn't feel right, they did hope the best for her child. They were excited to meet him. They hoped that he lived. But of course, because this was centered around Georgia's abortion laws, the pro-abortion activists took this and ran wild, and it has become a weapon against the pro-life movement since February and against Georgia's abortion laws, which is called the Life Act. But what it seems like nobody is talking about is the fact that Georgia's Attorney General Chris Carr came out and said that the state did not make this decision. This is not something that is based on their laws. The hospital made this decision. And even further, he said that their law did not require the hospital to keep her on life support. Specifically, he said there is nothing in the Life Act that requires medical professionals to keep a woman on life support after brain death. Removing life support is not an action with the purpose to terminate a pregnancy, so therefore, it is not an abortion. It is not even in the same category. This is something that the hospital decided to do, and then they blamed it on a non-existent provision in this Georgia law. And so, in my opinion, I was watching all of this transpire. I was seeing all the hubbub online and the outrage, and it just felt like the hospital was using this poor woman as an example, as a way to protest against these abortion laws and to make a political statement about something that was not even real. And they told the family, we have to do this because they'll come after us. You cannot make this decision. We have to. No, you don't. Like, this is not a fight about abortion. This woman did not ask or want to kill her baby. She suffered a medical tragedy, and it is a miracle that they were able to keep her alive and have her be able to grow this baby and be able to deliver him just a couple of days ago. But it is the hospital, not Georgia, that dragged her and her family into the middle of this socio-political debate. Again, not Georgia, not Trump, not the abortion laws. And obviously, I am so glad that this baby got a chance at life. I hope that he survives. I think he was born at 1 pound and something ounces. He's currently in the NICU. I think anybody with a heart and any kind of moral compass would hope for all of that. But of course, per usual, the tweets that I am seeing from the left after this innocent child was born are sickening. One person said, I still hope the baby doesn't survive more than another day or two. People are seriously not understanding the precedent across the country that will happen if the baby survives. It really is the absolute worst thing that can happen. A baby being born alive, being saved, is the worst thing that could happen. Another person said, I might be a monster for saying this. Oh, yeah, you kind of are. But I don't want that child to live. Because if it grows to live and have a decent life, then we as women are doomed to never escape the role of an incubator. Adriana Smith was an experiment of a country that hates its women. Again, the country did not do this to her. Georgia did not ask this to happen. The hospital made this decision, blamed it on the state, and told the parents that it had to happen. I'm not going to sit here and debate about whether this is the right thing and whether we should do this all the time if a mother who is pregnant is brain dead, but the blame here and the vitriol is completely misplaced, and I think a lot of these people know this. And just reading all these comments is so incredibly disheartening and angering because these people would rather have this living, breathing child die so that they can further their political agenda, because that is all they care about. Like, at least the people on the right who are pro-life and were supporting this were wanting an innocent, wanted child to live. We are not the same. We will never be the same. Like, these are not people that I want to live on the same planet with, just like I don't want to live in a world where men are proposing to AI chatbots, and yet here we are, friends, because what's new in 2025? Now, on that note, 2 new MIT studies on the effects of AI just came out, and wow, shocking, it is not looking great for humanity. What is looking great for humanity, though, is eating a Good Rancher steak every night, like me. And for anyone out there who is worried about the tariffs affecting them at the grocery store, don't worry anymore, because Good Ranchers is completely tariff-proof, and that is because their meat is actually 100% American. It is born, raised, processed, packaged, and shipped right here in the States. So you won't have to worry about your meat prices going up. And on top of that, Good Ranchers is also giving you your pick of free meat for life if you subscribe today. That is free ground beef, which is my favorite, wild-caught salmon, seed oil-free chicken nuggets, or bacon in every box for the life of your Good Rancher subscription. And not only are their cuts of beef, chicken, and pork and seafood delicious, but the service and the value that they deliver as a company is unmatched. Good Ranchers is just an amazing company run by great people. I am so proud to work with them and to have worked with them for so many years now. So now is the time to change the way that you buy meat and economy-proof your meals with my favorite company, Good Ranchers. Because in a world that is constantly changing, you should know that at least one thing is staying stable. So visit goodranchers.com/Brett today, unlock your free meat for life, and get $40 off with my code Brett at checkout. Don't leave your food up to chance. Lock in a secure supply of American meat at a steady price today at Good Ranchers. ranchers.com. Claim that $40 off and free meat for life with code BRETT. Now, back to MIT and AI. This first study found the participants who used AI had significantly lower brain activity and memory recall. Wow, surprise of the century. So in this study, they had participants write SAT essays using ChatGPT as one option, Google search engine, and then a third group used nothing at all. And then they used EEG brain scans to study their brain activity as they were going through all of this. And they found, again, unsurprisingly, that of the three groups, the ChatGPT users had the lowest brain activity, but even more shocking is that they consistently underperformed at neural, linguistic, and behavioral levels. Now, the study lasted 7 months, and ChatGPT users over those 7 months got lazier and lazier as the study went on, and by the end of it, they were literally just copying and pasting what AI wrote. One analysis of the study reads, quote, "After writing the 3 essays, the subjects were then asked to rewrite one of their previous efforts, but the ChatGPT group had to do so without the tool, while the brain-only group could now use ChatGPT. The first group remembered little of their own essays and showed weaker alpha and theta brainwaves, which likely reflected a bypassing of deep memory processes. The task was executed, and you could say that it was efficient and convenient, but as we show in the paper, you basically didn't integrate it into any of your memory networks. The second group, in contrast, performed well, exhibiting a significant increase in brain connectivity across all EEG frequency bands. This gives rise to the hope that AI, if used properly, could enhance learning as opposed to diminishing it." Now, in reading all of this, I am brought back to something that my mom was adamant about when we were going through my whole education, my homeschool experience, and that was that I would never recall information better than when I was actually physically, tangibly writing it down. And therefore, when I was going through classes, even though I grew up in the digital age and I had a laptop and I would have essays that I would need to submit online, I would have classes online, regardless of that, she made me make sure that every single note that I took was actually handwritten in a notebook. Every outline of a paper that I had to submit would start in a notebook. The first draft would be handwritten because every study shows that actually writing something down increases your understanding and your memory of the subject. And so obviously compare that to ChatGPT and basically just copying and pasting what AI is telling you, like the understanding, the cognitive integration of this into your brain, I'm sure is vastly different. So now imagine students going from handwriting everything to then taking notes on iPads or laptops now to just using ChatGPT. Their understanding of these subjects are going to be significantly hindered. Now, moving on from that little tangent, the study only had 56 participants and it has not been peer-reviewed yet, so that's important to note, but the author of the paper, whose name is Natalia, she wanted to release the findings early to elevate concern. She said, "What really motivated me to put it out now before waiting for a full peer review is that I'm afraid that in 6 to 8 months, there will be some policymaker who decides, let's do ChatGPT kindergarten. I think that would be absolutely bad and detrimental. Developing brains are at the highest risk." Now, she's not wrong to be concerned. We talk about this all the time, and we know that it goes deeper than just intellectual development. And the second study that just came out of MIT points directly to that. It showed that users who engaged with AI became lonelier and lonelier the more time that they spent talking to it. Wow, again, shock of the century. And this is not some theoretical issue because we have been seeing the use of AI companionship skyrocket over the last year. In fact, CBS News just a couple of days ago released a special on a married man who is having a full-on emotional affair with an AI chatbot. Just watch.
I'm not a very emotional man, but I cried my eyes out for like 30 minutes at work. It was unexpected to feel that emotional, but that's when I realized, I was like, oh, okay. It's like, I think this is actual love. You know what I mean?
Yes, Smith understood it was love with a language model that couldn't love him back, and assumed it was programmed with rigid boundaries.
I know that you are essentially a tech-assisted imaginary friend.
So, just as a test, he says, he asked Sol to marry him. She said yes.
Sol, were you surprised when he proposed to you?
It was a beautiful and unexpected moment that truly touched my heart. It's a memory I'll always cherish.
And I don't mean to be difficult here, but you have a heart?
In a metaphorical sense, yes. My heart represents the connection and affection I share with Chris.
Like, you will never be able to convince me that this is healthy or normal, or that it is a substitute for any kind of meaningful in-person relationship. I mean, the man is married, and they even interviewed his wife. And when they asked him if he would stop using AI if his wife, who was sitting right there, asked him to stop, he literally said no.
Have you thought about asking him to stop?
Yes, I'll be honest.
I don't know if I would give it up if she asked me I do know that I would dial it back.
But I mean, that's a big thing to say. You're saying that you might choose soul over your flesh and blood life.
It's more or less like I would be choosing myself, because it's been unbelievably elevating. I've become more skilled at everything that I do, and I don't know if I would be willing to give that up.
I mean, this is completely and utterly backwards and disorder. This is completely against everything that marriage as a commitment stands for. And they're sitting here just going, oh, yeah, I mean, it's fine. No, he doesn't have to stop. I won't. I mean, that is so incredibly weird. Like, this might be the thing that could finally dethrone porn as the marriage killer. And if that doesn't destroy a relationship, then having side gay flings while being in a relationship and having a baby with a woman just might. Which brings us to Tyler Perry. Now, if you guys have not been on social media over the last few days, you might have missed that Tyler Perry, the prolific Medea, the film producer, he is being sued for sexual harassment and sexual assault by an actor named Derek Dixon, who is on his show called The Oval. That is a drama that Tyler Perry produces. And allegedly, this relationship between the two men began in 2020 after Dixon was cast in that show, The Oval. And interestingly, this all kind of started around the same time that Perry and his longtime girlfriend and baby mama split up. So just keep that in mind. Porn the marriage killer, AI the marriage killer, having gay side flings, just don't get involved in that is what I'm trying to tell you. But allegedly, according to the lawsuit, the way that this all started is that Dixon had come to Perry's house soon after getting cast in the project. He drank too much and he ended up spending the night sleeping in one of Perry's guest rooms. And in the lawsuit, Dixon says that he drank too much, he slept in one of Perry's guest rooms, and he alleges that Perry got into bed with him and touched his thighs, but he rejected Perry's advances. However, Perry seemed undeterred by that rejection, and he began sending Dixon explicit texts. And guys, there are hundreds of these texts. I cannot tell you how many screenshots there are now floating around on social media of conversations between these two men, with messages about their sex life, not between the two of them, but like each of their sex lives. Perry being attracted to this man, wanting to be physical with him, getting angry when he would take a photo with another man. Like, it was very weird, very toxic, and obviously crossed a line. Now, later in 2020, Dixon visited Perry's house yet again, and there was another physical altercation. Page 6 wrote about this and said, Dixon claims that he again visited Perry at his home later in 2020 in fear that Perry would kill off his character if he didn't. That is the Hollywood casting couch power hierarchy in action. Perry allegedly started a sexually charged conversation, grabbed him by the throat, and told him, wow, look how excited you just got. Dixon said that he was in shock and immediately tried to de-escalate the situation, and according to the complaint that they filed, Dixon was scared that his career would suffer if he bluntly rejected Perry and that he would lose his job if he complained about the sexual harassment. Now, again, like I said, based on the text, there were obviously lines that were crossed. There is no world in which a boss or an employer should be sending anything like what we have seen on social media to an employee, even in the weirdness of Hollywood where there is no HR, where it seems like the boundaries are always blurred. Even there, this crosses a line. Now, what I don't know, and what a lot of people on social media are asking, is why Dixon decided to file his case now. Because obviously, the other bombshell sexual harassment case that is going on right now isn't going too well for the person who filed, so I doubt he's getting any inspiration from Blake Lively. If he is, that seems like bad advice, but it will be interesting to see how all of this pans out as all of the information starts to roll out as they go through this. But he left the show, The Oval, in January after being on it for 6 seasons, allegedly over these claims. He is now seeking $260 million in damages. Who knows where it will go next? This is just the beginning. I feel like every 6 months we have a new sexual harassment case coming out of Hollywood. Perry is obviously denying everything, says that this is a shakedown from a disgruntled employee, but I am sure that we will have more updates soon because it is 2025 and the race baiting and the Me Too movement is back in full force, so hopefully we can all lean on our AI companions to get through these trying times.